This is a very important topic that can be tough for some parents to get right. You know, everybody seems to have an opinion on how to put their babies, their newborns to sleep. So we brought in Dr. Ben Hoffman, the medical director of the OHSU Dornbecker Tom Sargent Safety Center, to kind of give us a little bit of an idea about how you help your babies sleep safely. Good morning, or good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Thanks for having us. This is Safe Sleep Month. And one of the things that we know is that sleep is really hard, especially with newborns. There are about 10 babies a day in the United States who die because of unsafe sleep, either through SIDS or suffocation. We know what can help, but we also know that it's really hard. And so we want to help parents understand what the best things they can do are.
Who's your buddy you have there with you today?
So I did not name this
like Charlie
young person, but I have this doll who's being swaddled in a hands-free swaddler. So this has Velcro that can come on and off easily to keep the baby warm at night and allow the hands to be free, which can be helpful, especially when babies can roll as they get closer to 3 to 4 to 6 months, because having the hands free is really essential. We want to make sure first that babies sleep on their backs. We know more than anything that having a baby sleep on their back is the safest thing to do. If a baby can roll on their own, it's okay. As long as it's okay to have them sleep as they're comfortable, but the parent should be putting them to sleep on their back.
So if you go in and the baby has adjusted and might be on a side or a tummy, do you roll them back?
You don't need to. Certainly if the baby's capable of rolling on their own, we assume that they can get back. And when we look at the risk for SIDS and other things, it's really about how the baby was put to sleep.
Really?
Okay.
So
Yes.
just the initial time in which they're put down to bed.
Right.
Now this hands-free swaddler, forgive me, never heard of one. Is that a fairly new product?
There are a number of products out on the market that allow the hands to be free. There are sleep sacks. This is just another example. And again, especially as babies get older and they're getting close to rolling over, we want to make sure their hands are free so that they can protect themselves, because the worst case scenario is they roll over it and their hands are stuck and they can't get back.
Even as a newborn, you don't want to swaddle to the point where the hands are restricted?
Some babies really like being swaddled, and it's okay for newborns and much younger infants to have the hands and arms in there, but if it's not necessary, we would suggest that people think about not doing it.
But definitely no blankets, stuffed animals, things where they could suffocate or roll into, though.
Right. So if you look at how this young person, Charlie, is sleeping in his portable crib, that's what we want it to look like. And parents may look at that and say, that's sad, and he looks lonely and all alone, and it's not cute. You know, there are tons of media messages out there. If you watch a lot of home renovation shows, every time they show a nursery, they tend to show very unsafe sleep. They'll have bumpers and all sorts of stuff in the crib.
All kinds of beautiful stuff in it, yeah.
This is what it should look like. So we talk about alone, meaning that the baby and nothing else on their back in a crib, meaning their own space, where they're not sharing a bed with the parent. And again, we understand that it's hard. And you know, I'm a pediatrician, my wife's a pediatrician, we had 3 kids. We know that sleep is really hard. But we also know what's dangerous and what's safe. And the closer that parents and caregivers can do to doing the safest thing to protect their babies, the better off we're all going to be.
The question, you know, you mentioned the loneliness. What about twins? Do you put them in the same crib?
So the literature would suggest it's probably best to have them in their own sleep spaces. You know, parents are often just trying to survive, and so we can give our recommendations, and we know what's safest. And again, as long as the parents are aware of that and can try and do that as often as they can.
And you say no blanket at all?
So something like this takes the place of a blanket because it keeps the baby warm. We just don't want anything that could fall on the baby's face and smother them.
To what age?
The highest risk period is in the first 6 months. We talk about SIDS being an issue up until about a year. So ideally, nothing else in the crib that's not necessary. I mean, a thin blanket, a receiving blanket like they bring home from the hospital might be acceptable, but again, less is more.
And Dr. Hoffman, is there a website people can go to get more information?
So there are a lot of good resources out there. Our website, dornbecker.com/safe sleep, is a really good place to start.
A trusted place, because I know it gets
Indeed.
confusing with lots of different websites out there. So,
You bet.
Doctor, thanks for being here today.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
information. Appreciate it. And